Here's what happened. You want to make that change, but then you stop moving forward. It could be working on this business, it could be in another area of your life, but you're staying stuck and it can feel like you're holding yourself back as an entrepreneur. And my guess is that this has happened more than once. And that feeling can be like jumping off of a dock into the water, and midair, every single time you stop. And so then you smack your face in the water. It's painful, it's embarrassing, and then it just isn't fun to have to repeat that pattern over and over and over again. It can waste a lot of time, waste a lot of energy, and create a lot of unnecessary pain and suffering. I have been there, specifically with these 5 body signals that I'll be sharing with you that used to hold me back as an entrepreneur. And I get really excited to share them with you so that you don't have to experience the wasted energy, wasted time, and the unnecessary pain and suffering with these, especially if you can relate to one of these or even all 5, to be able to shift your meaning that you have with these signals so that you can be able to move forward with saving that time, saving that energy, and avoiding the unnecessary pain and suffering. Let's get into it. This is Make Burnout Extinct. I'm Robert David Weeks. Thank you for being here. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. And if you haven't done it yet, you can subscribe and follow the show for the latest episodes. I really do get excited for this commitment I made to you through this show of sharing what it actually takes to make burnout extinct. Based off of my own personal experience of hitting burnout back in 2018, after the social media conference I founded where 500 people came together. I got that to be able to share with you. I also have insights from guests that are coming on to the show and that they get to share with you. And then other things that I'm learning along the way. But with burnout, I think it's really important to define it for you. Burnout is a major life transition that's forced on you by your body. That's how I like to think about burnout. And the reason why is because there can be confusion with the burnout beast's weapon of choice. And what I want to share with you is that in the context of business, how you can think about burnout is having to force yourself to close down the business. And it can be because your body doesn't have the capacity to either handle the growth that's happening or the challenges that you're dealing with. And that could be related to solely the business or the other areas of your life, because your business is just one part of your life. And so the weapon of choice for the burnout beast, and that's where you can think of people saying, oh, I'm burnt out or I'm struggling with burnout right now. The weapon of choice, and it's the body's enemy number one, is chronic stress. But chronic stress is what leads you to then hitting that burnout, that major life transition that gets forced on you by your body. And so the gift that I want this show to help give to yourself is figuring out your right way to make burnout extinct. Because in the simplest way I can explain it for how you do that is to feel more energized than drained in your life. And that goes to this skill that is one of the most important skills for entrepreneurs: mastering communication with your body. Your body's constantly communicating with you. It's on your team. You're not in battle with your body, you're in battle with the burnout beast. And so it's figuring out your right way. I go to this quote from John Butcher, which he says, there is no one right way, but there is a right way for you. And this is giving you that space to figure that out for yourself and take back that control. Let's get into it. Today, I want to talk about these 5 body signals. But before I do, I want us both to feel more energized. When we're feeling more energized, you can then have better distinctions and strategies that you can implement for the challenges you're dealing with. You can then have better perspectives of how to move forward and to not hold yourself back. And then I just believe you become a better person when you're feeling more energized. I know when I'm drained, it's not really fun to be around me. I can be miserable at times. And I'm really grateful to have those people in my corner of support that accept me for all of who I am. But that doesn't have to be an excuse for me to not focus on feeling more energized and taking care of my body. And so we're going to do that together here for a few, just for a few exercises for creating movement. So right now, if you are already moving, could be working out, running, walking, doing something else, I want you to just amplify it when I get to the point of saying, move faster, move faster, move faster. Okay? If you're just hanging out, then you can go through these exercises that I'll go through with. That you can go through these exercises with me. So first, what I'd like for you to do is take a deep breath in through the nose. Here we go together. And then release out through the mouth. Okay. Now what I want you to do is just roll your shoulders forward, like lean forward, lean back, roll them back, lean forward. It's like Matrix. Imagine Matrix move here. Oh yeah, there you go. Forward, back. All right. And then now what I want you to do is you can flex, bring your arms up, flex your arms, show off those biceps. And then now what I want you to do is just pump them. Imagine a pump. You're pumping your biceps up and down. Here you go. Let's go. All right. Now I want you to move faster. Let's go. Faster. Move faster. All right. Now it's time to freestyle. Do whatever you feel. You can either keep doing these fist bumps like this, or you can do something else. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and move. All right, keep it going. Move faster. Come on. You got this. Let's go. And 3, 2, 1, and stop. Now together, let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Oh, that was fun. And out. All right. Now what I want you to do is repeat after me. I want you to say, oh, yeah. Ready? Here we go. Oh, yeah. Another time. Oh, yeah. One more time. Oh, yeah. Final time. Oh, yeah. There you go. That was just for fun. All right. How you feeling now? Check in with yourself. Feeling more energized? Awesome. Now let's bring in another technique so that you can filter out everything that I'm telling you right now and I'm going through with you. Because you can get shitted on all over the place from other people. You should try the strategy, should try this habit, should try this perspective. And I'm at fault in my own way for that, of sharing with you all these different things you can try out. So you want to filter that through what is true for you. So with this technique, it's the truth anchor technique. And it's figuring out for you the body signal where you can resonate with what is true for you, right? What's in alignment for you, what you resonate. And that is by saying a truthful statement and then saying a lie and noticing the difference in where the body signals are coming up. And so that's where you can feel pressure. It could be tension. Noticing the changes. So what I want you to do, we're going to take another deep breath in through the nose, release it out through the mouth. What I want you to do is repeat your name 3 times. And so you're going to say, my name is, and then repeat it. So here you go, right? My name is Robert David. My name is Robert David. My name is Robert David. All right, where I notice that is in my chest. Okay, and you may have to repeat this a few more times, but this is such an important habit to create for yourself. Now what I want you to do is to repeat you can say my name is and then make up a name. All right, I'm going to use Fred for this time. So here we go, right? My name is Fred. My name is Fred. My name is Fred. Where I notice that is up in my head. And so with all this information I'm about to share with you, filter it out through those signals of where you notice when I say something, does it resonate for you? Okay. So what I want you to do now for another fun exercise is to think back to the last change you wanted to make. It could be within the business. It could be a skill that you wanted to improve for yourself, or it could be a completely another area of your life. Because your life is interconnected. It's not just the business or the health and fitness or your relationships. They're all interconnected. And so it's really important to understand what isn't working right now, what's holding what do you feel is holding yourself back? And it may not even be related to the business. So this is that space to figure that out for yourself. So what I want to get into is sharing with you a few stories that you may be able to relate to, and then bring in these 5 body signals into these stories. The first one that comes up was my first networking event as an entrepreneur after graduating college. This was back in Charleston, and I had set the intention of wanting to show up and be myself. If you could relate to this, Throughout my life, I felt like I had to wear a mask and had to figure out how people wanted me to show up as, or how should I show up for other people. And that made it really difficult for me to connect back to what feels authentic to me. And so with this event, I had made the commitment. I just wanted to show up as myself. And what happened was then I started to feel some of these body signals. Didn't know it at the time, didn't know what the hell they were. But looking back, I noticed the spider crawlers is one of the signals. These, you can imagine spiders crawling all over your body, these tingles sensations that can come up. I was experiencing that. I was preparing, and I remember walking. It was downtown Charleston. I was walking towards this the event, to the building where the event was being held. I remember they had a sign-in table outside to be able to check in. Went, signed in, got my name tag, and then there was another person that was with me who I didn't know, but they showed up at the same time. We both then go into the building, go through the door, and go to the elevators because the events could be held on the second floor. And then I remembered getting the spider crawlers again because I'm going into this elevator with this other person. And I'm thinking, man, I should probably say something. And I remember saying like, hi. And then the person said like, hey back, like something like that. And then nothing. And so what happened was then I got the roller coaster drop, right? It's that like right before we're going over the edge for the roller coaster, if you're in the front row and you're about to go into that drop, it's that feeling of, oh gosh, this doesn't feel good at all. And I felt that. And then we got up to the second floor, elevators, so happy the doors opened up. The person walked out in front of me. I waited a little bit, didn't want to go too fast. But then I saw that the event was in a room down this long hallway. And so then I remembered going down this long hallway, and I could feel myself getting into this other body signal, sloth mode, like slowly walking towards the room. Everything felt slow motion. And you can imagine like this hallway. I think of going back to Star Wars. If you ever seen the movie, Luke Skywalker, he's like going to destroy the Death Star. I felt all my senses were heightened. I'm like, that doorway is the target. I got to go towards this thing. And I'm moving closer and closer and closer and closer. And then my mind is pinballing as I'm walking towards the door, because I see these groups of people that are hanging out, and it's like your typical networking event. Not a lot of structure. It feels like you got to figure out which group to go to. You're going to have, like, it's going to be awkward to have to get into the conversation, introduce yourself. And my mind's just pinballing as to, what do I say? How do I introduce myself? How do I not make this awkward and weird? And it's just pinballing all over the place. But then I get to the doorway. And what happens is then it feels like the emergency brake on a car. Just, and I stop. And then the message that comes through for me, because I put a meaning on all these different signals, didn't know it at the time, but the meaning I put on it was, I'm not supposed to be in this room. I'm not supposed to be here. And so I turned around. And then I started to walk back. And then what I felt was the roller coaster drop again. This feeling. And then the spider crawlers came back. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't go through the door. People are coming towards the event, and I'm walking by them. And so I'm starting to feel that tension, that pressure in my body. The stress is there. And then I stopped right before getting into the elevator. And, people are still walking by to go to the event. But then I had this space now to make a decision. And I remembered thinking back, my mind's pinballing. What the hell do I do here? And then what I did was I grabbed my phone. And I started to have a fake phone conversation with myself. I was that crazy person in that moment, where I was just like talking, and I was saying, oh yeah, this event's great. I'm having a great time. I don't remember exactly everything else I said, but I do remember that part. And then still people are walking by and I'm like, oh shit, they know I'm having a fake phone conversation here. I start to have the pinballing continues to happen. I'm going all over the place. And then I get another emergency brake from the body. And it's like, you got to get the fuck out of here. Like, you're going to look like a crazy person. You got to get out. And so I like rush into the elevator. The elevator, the doors close. I go down to the first floor. I'm walking past. I'm trying to avoid eye contact with people at the check-in table, and I'm moving down the sidewalk. And I leave the event before it even got started. It was one of those networking events for entrepreneurs to come together to talk for a little bit, just a few minutes, and then you have a guest speaker that comes in and shares their story. And it can be really inspiring and fun to connect with. But I missed that opportunity. And I remember telling myself, dude, you could have just waited until the speaker comes on. You could have even stayed in the hallway. And so I got so pissed at myself because I wasn't able to actually move forward. And then I just remembered realizing I had paid for this event. I just wasted money. I wasted my time. I wasted my energy. And I created so much unnecessary pain and suffering. And yes, it sparked for me of, I don't want to feel like this again. Like, I need to work on this skill. But I had put this meaning on all these body signals that I didn't need to put on them. Because what each one of these signals were trying to communicate to me was, hey, we're getting into an unfamiliar experience right now. You're trying to show up as yourself and what feels authentic to you. And this is a new experience. And what's important to remember for yourself is that your nervous system is trying to bring you back into balance. And so when it tries to bring you back into balance, if you're getting into an unfamiliar situation, that can feel at first like momentum. You can imagine like a swing. You're swinging forward. But then if your belief system is if you have a certain belief that's disempowering, that's in the driver's seat of your life, the one for me was, hey, you actually cannot show up to an event and be seen. Like, I was still holding on to that belief of like, it's not possible for me to do this. What will happen is you'll swing backwards. And that is where you can get these different body signals that come through of emergency brake, pinball, of the sloth mode, roller coaster drop, the spider crawlers. But what those are just trying to communicate to me is, hey, is this something you want? Is this something that is something you want to continue to move forward with? And it's for me to communicate that to the rest of my body and my nervous system specifically that, yes, this is something I want. And that is where it's moving through the resistance. But first, feeling the signals, and then again, goes back to this skill, communicating with your body. Because you'll always have those pendulum swings. You imagine it with the swing. You'll always move forward. You'll always move backwards with the momentum in life. And then you'll have that moment for your nervous system to bring you back into balance. But it's making sure that you're communicating with your body for what you want more of. And a great way to do this in a habit practice is to celebrate whenever you do something that moves you through the resistance. For that situation, for that missed opportunity, what I could have, if I had if I'd gone past the elevator, that's a moment for me to celebrate. If I had gone to that door of the event, that's a moment for me to celebrate. To continue to remind my body that this is what I want. And then it can be another way for the body. It can be a way for a body to then release dopamine, the internal reward, to reinforce that this is what I want. But that didn't happen there. It became a lesson for me. But then another situation happened. And this was back in 2022. It was my first speaking event since the pandemic had happened. And it was at a conference in Savannah, Georgia. And I remembered being backstage, pacing back and forth, and then reminding myself of, because I was experiencing these different body signals that were coming up, the emergency brake, the pinball, sloth mode, the roller coaster drop, spider crawlers, they were coming up as well. But this is what happened is I had learned and I had put myself into a position where I could not get out of it. I had to show up. because I was one of the speakers at this event. So there's no turning back here. And that is what helped to remind my body, this is what I want. Yes, I'm feeling these different body signals, but I'm then celebrating. And at the time, I didn't actually do the habit of celebrating. But for me, it was growth of the awareness that these feelings, these signals coming from my body, they're just signals that are there to make sure that this is something I want. Because it's an unfamiliar situation. It's been a long time since I've done a speaking event. And then what happened was I was able to breathe through it. I created movement, going back to what we did of feeling energized. I felt energized backstage. I was moving back and forth, pacing to release that stress out of the body. And then I went on stage in front of the audience. Or went in front of the group, because it wasn't a literal stage, but right in front of the group. And they were sitting down, and then I was able to deliver the talk. And I think back to that moment, and I'm like, fuck, what did that do for me? That re-sparked this inner drive to want to get my message out to more people. At the time back then, in 2022, I was helping people to connect back to their voice and their authentic voice, which goes back to one of the challenges I had growing up as a kid, going into my adult life, was feeling I had to wear a mask. So I remember like we were getting into these exercises. I was choking. I was like, we're gonna do voice exercises. One that is like Chewbacca sound. If you're a Star Wars fan, you know what I'm talking about. But this Chewbacca sound, and it was so cool to see people like light up and just to have fun, and a great way to then connect for the attendees there with each other, because it wasn't so professional anymore, stuffy, but you could feel like you could be yourself. And then when I got done with the event, I had people come up. I remember this one guy came up from the audience and just said how grateful he was for the talk and, the exercise that we were going through. And he had said that he had been in a job that the values weren't in alignment. And so he was able to tap into the courage to then leave that job, leave that opportunity, and move on. And it was connecting back to authentically what resonates for him. And if I hadn't gone to that event, gone on stage or in front of the audience and had done all that, that would not have happened. I would not have had that experience. I would not have been able to have that conversation and be able to use it as fuel to keep moving forward and to witness the impact that this had on someone for their past experiences of being able to reflect back and then be able to share that with me. Connection happened there. And I feel like we can lose. I feel like that's something we got to come back to, is connection. Deep levels of connection. It can be so easy to stay on the surface in conversations and experiences. To really go deep, that's where beautiful experiences can happen. That's where we can tap back into the source of love to be able to pour that into others and pour that into ourselves and become such a fucking beautiful gift for our life and the lives of others. And so for you, thinking back to each one of these 5 body signals, do you resonate with one of them? The emergency brake, the pinball, sloth mode, roller coaster drop, spider crawlers. And what to reframe for these, for the meaning, to recap it, is to not think of them as stop signs, but as signposts, as reminders from the body for the signal of, is this what you want? And for you to then communicate with your body, yes, if it is, so that you can move forward. And then you'll have those moments of releasing that stress out, going back to movement creates energy, and that can then become a great way to release the stress out. And you'll not be perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. When you make those mistakes, because they'll happen, get the lesson in the mistakes and then let go of the mistakes. If you're not able to tap into enough courage to be able to move forward, realize how far you've come for the growth, And then as you look back on the baseline, and then show up again and put the rep in. And what I want to tell you, if you haven't heard it yet, is that I believe in you. You have the capabilities to listen to your body and to get those signals and make the adjustments on a habit level, and then even deeper than that, on a belief system level. And it is absolutely possible for you to make burnout extinct. You got this.